it's Flame again. So we're going to learn about the Tower of Babel. Now I have some hard time with the word B because it's just hard for me to say B, so I can't say D. But that's okay because sometimes I can't talk out the test anyway. So we're going to learn about the story of the Tower of Babel and why it got like God didn't like that, and why we need to always listen to God and our parents and everything. So enjoy the story, and look at I'll talk about it a little bit after we read. So have some fun!
An unfinished landmark. The bus engine rumbles to life again. Are we turning around? Lana asks. The bus loops around the peak of Mount Ararat and drives back down the same road it came up. It looks like we're headed back to Mesopotamia, Griffin says, if I'm reading the map correctly. If? Laughs Munch. You've been reading maps correctly since before you could talk. If I'm reading the map correctly, Griffin repeats, ignoring Munch. Our next stop is Babylon. There's the sign, Lana shouts, pointing out the window. Babylon! Munch pulls out a squash peanut butter and jelly sandwich from his back pocket and takes a giant bite. Jelly splatters all over his shirt. Before we read about the story of Babel, let's look more about what Babylon is and where it came from, and a little more history about it. Babylon. Babylon is a wealthy and powerful city located near the Euphrates River in modern-day Iraq. It was the capital of Babylonia in southern Mesopotamia. Babylon was a grand city surrounded by huge walls. Adorned gates opened and led to the center of the city, where a tall ziggurat stood. The king's palace was also in the center of the city. This is what a ziggurat is. The Euphrates River was used for trading goods with other cities. The fertile soil near the riverbed allowed for crops such as fruits and vegetables to grow. Babylonians ate meat, fish, bread, fruits, and vegetables. Most houses were one-story and made from clay brick. Only the wealthy had two-story homes. Clay was most often used for building because it was found along the river. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were one of the 7 wonders of the world, were thought to be located in the city. Though archaeologists have not been able to find proof that the garden has existed, though we know that things are being discovered every single day. Fun fact, the ancient Babylonians were gifted mathematicians and astronomers. Math, science, astronomy, literature, and art flourished in the city of Babylon. And even though that city may have been wonderful and have lots of activity, we know from the story of Babel that as they did not listen to God and began to do their own things, things did not work out so well for the city of Babylon and the Tower of Babel. So let's read about the Tower of Babel. It is a hot and humid day in Babylon. The temperatures soar and the sun beats down. Large groups of people are scurrying around the construction site. They are sweaty and tired, but they keep on working. They're building a tower. Workers form bricks out of clay and bake them in a fire. The bricks are lifted up to the sides of the tower and placed on top. The building grows taller by the hour. Our tower will be so high that it will reach all the way to the heaven, one man brags. We will build the greatest city in the world, another one says. We'll become famous. We can do anything. The people's pride grows along with their tower. God overhears their bragging. This tower will make these people think that they do not need me anymore, he says. I will confuse the language of the people. They won't be able to understand each other and the building will stop. Then I will scatter them all over the earth. So God makes the people start speaking different languages. Soon, misunderstandings arise. It becomes too hard for them to work together. The people form small groups and scatter, leaving their unfinished tower. If you want to learn more about the Tower of Babel, you can read Genesis 11, 1 through 9. If you look over in the corner at the slow down section, it says, think about it. The people said, come, let's build a great city for ourselves with a tower that reaches into the sky. Genesis 11:4. The Tower of Babel was most likely a ziggurat. A ziggurat is a tiered pyramid structure built on top of a platform. Ziggurats were religious buildings built as part of a temple. The Tower of Babel was probably made entirely of mud or clay bricks.
Oh, that was a crazy story.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy story.
Yeah, those guys aren't listening to God.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because in the story of the Tower of Babel, we sometimes don't always understand why God was upset about them building this big tower. Because, we have big towers, right, today?
Yeah, skyscrapers.
Yeah, skyscrapers. We see them in cities, New York, Chicago, places like that, and they're these big, tall buildings. So why is God not mad about those big towers that we build today?
Well, cause aren't these the towers that the Apple built? Aren't they like temples or something?
Yeah, sometimes the pyramids and the ziggurats and things like that were built to be temples to other gods and things like that. But we actually read that this Tower of Babel was a sense of their own pride as people, that they wanted to look important and they wanted to show all their power and might. And was that a good thing?
No, it's not.
No, sometimes our pride can get in the way of worshiping God and being good for God too. And so, well, God wasn't very happy with that. But there's another issue with why God wasn't too happy with them. Do you remember why?
Was it another command that he told, like Adam and Eve and stuff?
Yeah, actually, remember at the beginning, a couple stories ago, we learned about Adam and Eve. And in Adam and Eve, it said that we were to be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. And so if they're all around this one big city building this tower, are they being fruitful and multiplying?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they are, but are they spreading throughout the whole world?
No.
No, they're not. And so God is saying, I built this whole world for you, and so I want you to spread across it and fill it up with people so that, more can learn about God and love him and worship him. And so that's what God wanted. And so that's what we're supposed to do, is we're supposed to not only, learn about taking care of creation and God's creation, but we also want to make sure that we tell others about Jesus, and we don't just spread in regard to having more people and more babies, but we want to spread the gospel. We want to spread Jesus' message.
Yeah, Jesus is the coolest guy ever!
Yeah, I know he is. And so we want to be able to share our message with Jesus, and so we want to be able to spread Jesus' love across the whole world, and that is because we want to be able to tell others about who Jesus is and what he's done for us.
Yeah, he saved us. He's the coolest superhero ever.
Yeah, he is a pretty cool superhero because he saved us, he loved us, and he sacrificed his life for us. And we want to remember that. And so we need to remember that the Tower of Babel teaches us that we always need to
listen to God.
Yes.
And listen to our parents.
Yes.
And make sure we do what the Bible says.
Exactly. So, we thank you for watching, thank you for learning, and we'll learn more about the Story Traveler's Bible on our next episode.